All right, we're going to continue on with our loom. You have a circle that you've cut out of this tag board, this cardboard. You've marked the middle, and then you've divided it into 4 parts. North, south, east, and west is probably the easiest way to think of it. And now, each one of these sections between the directions, we're going to divide into 7 parts. Now you can use a pencil, but I'm going to use a Sharpie so that you can see it. Okay, halfway between the north and the east, halfway, you're going to make a mark like that. And then you're going to do another halfway there and another halfway there. So you can go ahead and do that. Then in between each one, you're going to put another mark halfway. And that'll mean you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in between each one. So you're going to do that between each direction. So here I'll do the same thing. I'm going to put a halfway here. And I'm going to go halfway. It doesn't have to be exact, but... And then I'm going to do another halfway in between each one. And we'll continue on here. Halfway. And halfway between these. Halfway between each one of these. And then our final one. Halfway. Halfway between. And there. Now each one of these is going to be, as you weave, you're going to be putting your yarn in it. So what you're going to do next is for each one of these, you're going to cut, and it needs to be small, a very small V. So let me show you how small that is. So we're going to go around and cut very small. Now one mistake people make is to cut these large, and your yarn won't stay in there. And it's barely, I almost could do a single cut, except we need it a little bit wider, and I'm not cutting very far either, so you can see how far I'm cutting. So you're going to go all the way around and cut very tiny V's in each one. So you can go ahead and do that. And of course, it would be nice if you would throw away all the little teeny scraps of cardboard that you end up with. You're going to go all the way around. I'm not going to go all the way around now because you don't need to watch me do that, but it's going to look like that. So they're very small. Now, the final thing you're going to do with cutting these openings is for each one, you're going to notch it just a little bit with the scissors straight in, less than 1/4 inch, more like 1/8 of an inch. Just going to do a little notch. Now you probably can't even see what I'm doing here, but there's a little tiny notch there. And what will happen then is when you put your yarn in here, it'll go into the V and then settle into that notch. So go ahead, you're cutting the V for each one, very small, and then you're going to go back around and put just a little tiny 1/8 inch notch. And you have to be careful with this. If you cut the V's too wide or the notch too deep, it makes it harder to weave. So the neatness of creating your loom is very important. It will help you weave better. So I'm going to do another video on how to weave, but we're still getting our loom set up. So once you've done that, so you've gone all the way around, and then each one of these you've also notched a little bit. Then we're going to cut out a hole in the center, and I'd really like you to do this without hurting yourself. It's a little tricky, so I'm going to show you that. Yes, I'm only halfway around with my loom, but I'll finish it before the next video. So of course you will have thrown away all these tiny scraps. And we're going to cut out this center hole. Now we want to cut out right in the middle a circle. Now it doesn't have to be exactly a circle, but it does need to be big enough that your yarn, that's where your spiral weaving is going to feed through. So the way I do it is I open up the scissors blade. Now I don't want to put my hand directly opposite because I don't want to drill this into my hand, but I'm going to go back and forth like that until it pokes through. Now, and I have done this by mistake. If you have your hand here and you're trying to do this, it pokes through into your finger and it hurts quite a bit. So make sure your hand's elsewhere and you're going to poke through one blade. Then we got to make this a little bigger. So I'm just going to clip this a little bit. And it's hard to do this. And again, we don't have to have a nice, neat, accurate circle, but we do need to cut a hole in the middle. So I work the scissors into there, and then I cut around in a circle, and I want to end up with something that looks like that. So go ahead. The steps are, it's divided north, south, east, and west. Then you divide these each into 7 sections, and then you cut a V, and then you do a slight notch, and then you cut a hole in the middle. If you're having a lot of trouble with getting the scissors blade through the hole in the middle, if someone else at your table seems better at it, maybe you can ask for a little help. I don't want anyone to hurt themselves.